Hi, folks. I've got a story to share with you. Would you like to hear it? All right, then. Once upon a time, there was a guy named Flinchy McFolds-a-lot. Now, Flinchy McFolds-a-lot flinched a lot and he folded a lot. He flinched and he folded. People knew that when Flinchy said that he was going to, I don't know, let's say, uh, impose something. He threatened to do it and said, you know what? Just wait him out because he's going to flinch. Now, and he folds like a cheap suit. um, now, Flinchy was in love. Now, he wasn't in love with Melania, and he wasn't in love with Kim Jong-un. Although, actually, check that. He was still in love with Kim Jong-un. But I'm not talking about that love. I'm talking about the love he was in with tariffs. Tariffs. Nobody knows exactly when it was that he fell in love with tariffs. It seemed like he just woke up one day and randomly came across the word tariffs and was immediately enamored by the word. Oh, he was infatuated with it. Almost like the way he was infatuated with the word groceries. He came across that one day. He didn't know what it meant, but it seemed to him an old-fashioned word, but also at the same time a new word, and also that he invented it. Anyway, back to tariffs. Flinchy McFolds-a-lot thought that tariffs were the answer to everything. Tariffs were going to make everybody rich. Tariffs were going to raise billions and trillions of dollars for his country. Tariffs were going to make manufacturing boom. We're going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Tariffs were going to make him wildly successful and popular and taller and slimmer with bigger hands. Tariffs. Anyway, one day, Flinchy McFolds-a-lot decided that he was going to impose some tariffs on Canada and Mexico, our two closest neighbors. And they were just like, okay. We can do that too. And the very next day, Flinchy McFolds-a-lot said, you know what? No more tariffs. Put a pause on those for 30 or 60 or 90 days, whatever it is. Tariffs. But wait, there's more. Later on, he decided he was not going to just impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico, not just them, also China, but not just Canada and Mexico and China, but the world, all of all of the countries in the world. All of the countries in the world he was going to impose tariffs on. Even a country that had no people in it. It only had penguins. Right, penguins. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to get into the tariff on debacle, and we're going to get into a bunch of other things. I hope you're ready to get into it because I am. Let's go. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I was having a little bit of I was having some fun with that story. And no, I'm not going to write a book about it, although I probably could. The events in the past, what is it? Has it been 80 days yet? I don't know. It seems like I think it's been 80 days, have been insane. Like, you literally could write a wacky book about this, but ain't nobody got time for that. And I'm already sitting on a stack of books that I didn't even have a chance to sell. Anyway, let's see who we have here. And I think we have a surprise new person at the top. It's Sandra Lee has supplanted Zelda at the top of the heap. Welcome, Sandra Lee, followed by Meredith Powell. Let me just be clear. Nobody can ever replace Zelda, but Zelda, she's a busy person. She has things to do. Things to do, people to save. Let's see. Meredith Powell is here. And going back and forth. There she is. Zelda with the hi, everyone there. Followed by what is this? Unit. Oh, my contacts are Unit 0x07 is here. But Ness from Connecticut is here. Fox Hill Dreams, Wilbur McCarthy, Valerie G, Bernadette H, Taboo Forte is here. Monique Lee is here. Joanne Kennedy made it. Mama AG, Lori B, Watcher Soko, Tracy M, aka Nurse Mitch, Stephanie L from Florida, Pam Fiddle is here. Pam Fiddle. Let's see. Watcher Soko did enjoy the dun dun dun. Let's do that one more time for prosperity. That's a throwback. I used to do that a lot more, at least once per episode. And then that's a video clip that I made, and I couldn't find the video clip. And then today I was like, why don't I just take the pictures and the sound and make the video clip all over again? My lazy ass was just like, I don't feel like it. Asmila J is here. Dakota Dave is here. The Trump Reaper is here. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Let's jump into what I like to call the stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
All right, so for our top story of the day, of course, the graphic, the thumbnail for the show is Trump flinched. There he is. He flinched. But first, Donald Trump has once again weaponized. What am I saying? Once again, he's never stopped. He started right off weaponizing his position. He has gone after two men who actually worked in his administration, Chris Krebs and Miles Taylor, and their crime was contradicting him on the big election lie. The Supreme Court issued a rare 9-0 verdict, and also handed Donald Trump an important L, demanding that they facilitate the return of a Maryland dad who was erroneously, mistakenly sent to El Salvador. And of course, last but not least, the top story of the day is the disastrous deployment and then undeployment or revocation or delay or canceling of the tariffs or the reciprocal tariffs that he meant to impose on the world. uh, and that was until he caved. And so we'll get into all that in a few. But first, if this is your first time here, please make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. The like button, as you know, looks like the thumbs up, like I'm doing right there. Make sure you hit that. It helps the channel as well as the subscribe. So thank you very much. Also, for those of you who are unaware, what do you call? I have a Substack, and my Substack was inspired this week. I'm actually, you can't see, but I'm gonna show you. I'm wearing my Punisher T-shirt. Here, see that? Wearing my Punisher T-shirt because I'm in an ass-kicking mood, and I've been in this ass-kicking mood since yesterday, and it just dropped on me out of the blue. I mean, I kind of have already been in an ass, but this was more ass kicking than usual. So anyway, my Substack article is more of a rant than anything else. It says, "Wake up, Dems! Trump's lawless reign demands a fight, not a handshake. While MAGA guts democracy, liberals are." God damn it. Liberals are splitting hairs. Here's why we need to get loud and rude now. Okay. Joanne Kennedy says, "Read that Substack. How many cups of coffee?" You know what? It's funny. I do most of my writing late at night, actually. In the wee hours. When I say wee, I mean like between the hours of 1 and 3 or 4 p.m. It's when it's quietest. It's the most quiet. And it's after, let me explain, right? I gotta have time for family, right? That's important. So and time for myself to unwind, excuse me, to decompress, to get a lot of the toxicity out of my system. Because, you guys know, you see my tweets, you see the replies, you see people, coming at me with the venom and the filth and the bullshit. And, most of the time I can just, I mute them and I don't engage or whatever. There's certain things I've done to mitigate that, that crap. But, it does wear on you after a while. So I have to detox from that daily. And so as such, if I want to do things like do my Substack, I've got to wait until shit quiets down and I can quiet my brain down and actually focus. So anyway, what had got my gander up yesterday was the tragic helicopter crash in New York City. A helicopter plunged into the Hudson, and I believe it was 6 people, 5 family members, and the pilot. And I don't even think they've come up with a reason for that yet. It's tragic and it's terrifying. I've actually, fun fact, I've never been on a helicopter ride, but I want to. I still, despite that, I still want to. It looks awesome. It looks really cool. Obviously, I do not want to plunge to my death in that. That's terrible. So what got me going was that, God forbid I should happen to note that there has been a great deal uh, of planes falling out of the sky, a lot of crashes and air aviation incidents in the weeks and months since Donald Trump decided that he needed to fire hundreds of people in the FAA, you know, people who dealt with safety and regulations and shit like that. He just need to fire them. And I also noted that, excuse me, that there was a major air incident in Washington, D.C., that he came out and took and made comments and took questions in press conference. And that's when he chose to talk about DEI. So his implication, we didn't even know the race or ethnicity of the pilots from both planes involved in that incident, but he made it seem like, it could have been a black man flying or black woman flying either or both of those planes, and that's probably why. He didn't say it in those words, but he didn't have to. Okay. So, in my brain, I'm keeping track of all these things. I'm keeping track of when, for instance, when President Biden was in office and there was that tragic incident with the train. The train in East Palestine, Ohio, got derailed. And obviously, that derailment was because Trump had deregulated railways and banks. But Trump rushed to blame President Biden for that. Now, people were coming at me yesterday. How dare you, sir? How dare you blame President Trump for a tragic air incident that he had nothing to do with? He wasn't flying that helicopter. Oh, really? Aren't you the ones? Aren't you the ones who rushed to blame President Biden? And some of these people are Democrats. Some of these people are Democrats who clearly just walked in, just getting here, guys. What's going on? Oh, this guy Trump, he's bad. He's bad news. Yeah. They're not paying attention. They're not taking notes. So, folks, it's time. Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's not palatable. It's not nice. Okay. This is my unaffected, 2006 Majid, not exposed to any of this insane bullshit since Trump appeared. The 2006 Majid would be mortified to look at 2025 Majid having the audacity to blame this incident on Donald Trump. When even though, if you look at cause and effect, guy fires hundreds of safety officials in the FAA, and then almost immediately planes start falling out of the sky. You don't see that connection. If you don't see that connection, you just don't want to see that connection. But it's there. It's there. It's not like a stretch of the imagination to put that together. Unlike stretching the imagination with blaming President Biden for a train incident. I think there was a boating incident too. There was a boating thing in Baltimore, right? One boat hit that bridge in the middle of the night. Yeah, they blamed him for that too. So anyway, so that's what got my gander and got me writing that piece. Because guys, look, the people on the right, they don't give a shit. Here's the difference between them and us. We have decency. We have shame. We feel shame if we happen to do something that is beneath us. And in normal times, that sort of thing, that sort of, pointing fingers, etc., and during times of strife or tragedy, that shit is unpalatable. Fuck that. Sorry if you hate me for saying it. It is what it is, because they will do it, and not only will the press not push back on it, they will add fuel to the fire, right? So we're in this on our own, right? So you're either going to suck it up and do what needs to be done and hold that fucker to account, because nobody's holding him to account. Nobody is holding him to account. Watch his press conferences. He says the craziest shit. You know what? You can take credit for good things without slamming President Biden at the same time, but he's incapable of doing that. He's incapable. Every press conference he has, if he's patting himself on the back for doing one thing, he's at the same time he's saying, you know what, who couldn't do that? Joe Biden. He couldn't do that. Sleepy Joe. And nobody says anything about it. It's just like, yeah, go ahead. Go nuts, dude. And the networks carry all that bullshit. So yeah, so that's why I went off on that thing. Here's the article here. Trump administration fires hundreds of Federal Aviation Administration employees. And I'm sorry to go off on this tangent about this, but I kind of had to, because it really did kind of get under my skin a bit. And sometimes I feel like I'm alone out there, and I know you guys are with me, but I get piled on sometimes, and it feels like am I the only fucking person who sees this shit? Hold him accountable. This is the new paradigm. This is the new reality that we're in now. These are not your regular Republicans. These Republicans are standing by and letting him do whatever he wants to do. There's no checks and balances anymore. He owns half of Congress. He owns the Supreme Court. 6 out of 9 of them he owns. So, you know what? We have to do what we have to do. Whether you find it distasteful, or not, it is necessary. Anyway, I finally got to my movie part, because it's Friday. Friday is pizza and movies, and I am looking forward to seeing this movie starring Viola Davis. It's called G20, and if you're thinking, G20, that sounds like that global meeting that the top 20 global leaders go to, you are correct. And in this one, Viola Davis plays the president. That's how you know it's fiction. It's a black woman has been elected president. I'm sorry, I had to say it. It's true. I was having a chat with Zelda earlier this week. Zelda, my friend, let me just tell you, I love you, and I love you because you are still hopeful. She is hopeful, and she sent me a picture of Cory Booker. Oh, yeah. We were talking about how Cory Booker gave that amazing speech. And I replied to her, and I was like, she said, I hope he runs for office. And I said, I had kind of given up hope on that note, because America had broken my heart. They broke my heart when they looked at Kamala Harris and they were like, nah, we'll take the convicted felon who's a adjudicated rapist. We'll take him instead. But yeah, I just I love how hopeful Zelda still is, and that kind of, when I get too negative, it's people like that who kind of help keep me grounded and centered. So thank you for that, Zelda. So anyway, Viola Davis plays like a kick-ass former military president who is at the G20, and the G20 is attacked by terrorists. And there's a lot of stars in this. Like there's Anthony Anderson at the upper left, and right next to him is the little girl who played Diane on the show Blackish. She's now all grown up, and she looks lovely. And then in the lower left, there's a guy Coulson from the Avengers, and then in the far upper right, any of you guys who have watched oh, that's who the dude is with the glasses, Trump Reaper. In the upper right, that's the guy who plays Homelander in The Boys, and he is the bad guy in this movie G20. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one tonight. It's on Amazon Prime. Sorry, I hate to do it, but it is what it is. It's a necessary evil sometimes. This one here is on Max. It's The Last of Us Season 2. Those of you who are not familiar with it, The Last of Us, I believe, is a video game that has been developed into a long-form TV show. Each episode is about an hour, and it takes place in a world that has been overrun by some kind of weird, I don't know if it's alien, but it's like a fungus. This fungus turns people into monsters. It's terrifying, but the acting is just top shelf amazing. I can't recommend a show more highly than The Last of Us. There was like at least 2 episodes that made me weep, which is not hard these days. I don't know. These days, I'm like, I have so much emotion bottled up in me right now, and it is what it is. Anyway, that in this picture here, standing behind the girl, that girl right there is the key to solving the crisis. She is immune. Apparently, she is immune to these creatures, and her blood carries immunity. And I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but her immunity has a lot to do with the trajectory of the show, and that's all I can say without spoiling it. So check it out. And Zelda, my goodness. Oh my goodness, Zelda, thank you so much. That is extremely kind of you and generous. I thank you. I thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. That is amazing. And that's it. Let's jump on to what else is happening here. Earlier this week, something else that got me in a fighting mood was this thing called the SAVE Act, which was a Republican-sponsored bill, and there's nothing good about it. It doesn't save anybody. Apparently, they packaged this as a bill to prevent illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants from voting. But as you and I well know, it's a rarity. Like that's an extreme rare. How rare is it? It's like less than 1% of 0.01% between now and like the year 2000. That's how many incidents that's happened. It's probably like, I don't know, a handful or 10 people have attempted to do that. It's not like it's, more people have been struck by lightning than there have been incidents of undocumented immigrants attempting to break the law and try to vote. So what this SAVE Act has done is it forces women who are married, who have taken their husband's name, it forces them to go and get themselves a passport or something called Real ID. For a lot of people, passport is no big deal. I have a passport, but the world doesn't revolve around me and what's easy for me. You have to take everybody into consideration. Back in the day, there was a thing called a poll tax. Oh, damn, and I don't have a picture here. The poll tax, the poll tax is when you had to pay money if you wanted to vote. And that often affected Black people and poor people. It's poll tax. And sometimes it was a different kind of poll tax. Like they would make you guess how many jelly beans were in a jar. And if you couldn't guess, you couldn't vote. Yeah, sounds stupid and arbitrary, but that was in this fucking country. And these motherfuckers are trying to go back to that with this bill. And of course, they package it like, what? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? It's identification. Why shouldn't it be? Why are you fighting the need for, because you're hurting potentially 70 million people. And it's not just, women. It's like, it's veterans, people who are away, who are abroad, who can't easily get to a place where they can acquire the shit that they need to get this passport. Because to get the passport, you have to have Social Security card, you have to have the birth certificate, the proof of address, and I don't know, a bill pay, and all this different shit. And I think even insurance card for some reason, auto insurance, car insurance card, doesn't make any sense to me. But what makes even less sense to me is that we had 4 Democrats who voted to pass this shit. And people are telling me in the comments, here, I tweeted about it. There is no reason for Dems to vote with Republicans on voter suppression bills like the SAVE Act. Are they out of their fucking minds? These 4 Dems need to be primaried. And then I list them: Ed Case, Henry Cuellar, Jared Golden, and Marie Gluskamp Perez. Pass it on. There's no reason for them to vote for that because it was going to pass without them. It was already going to pass. Republicans have the fucking House. Guys, get on the same page with us. Don't give them any wins. Were they trying to give us any wins? We have to be like that now. We have to be tribal because the other side is being tribal. It's not going to magically be kumbaya bipartisan again. It's not. Make them fight for everything because they're just going to stomp all over us. Jesus. It's frustrating. Yeah. And I put this here. This is, let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, so this is a screenshot from a Google search result page. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, right, you have to pay attention with how these different news agencies are framing these conversations around the things that are happening with our politics, right? So Democracy Docket says SAVE Act. House passes GOP voting bill that could disenfranchise millions. That's good. Then you have Newsweek. Republicans reject SAVE Act amendments aimed at protecting women's votes. That's okay. I'll give that a pass. The Hill. House passes bill that could make it harder for married women to vote. Okay, that's fine. But here at the top, we have Fox News. Dems fight bill to stop illegal immigrant voting despite polls showing voter support. NBC News. House passes bill to require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. Thanks a lot, NBC News. You're fucking useless. The Hill. House Republicans pass bill requiring proof of citizenship to vote. Burying the lead. And then the New Republic, 4 Democrats pass bill making it harder for married women to vote. I'm just pointing these things out to you because we have to be aware. We have to be aware of what the media is doing, what part they're playing in informing, misinforming, disinforming our fellow citizens. Those of us who are already engaged, and some of us who are who only have time to read a headline. Some people don't even bother to drill down into an article, because I bet you, I didn't read that Fox News thing, but I bet you in that Fox News thing, all the way at the bottom, there's some kernels of truth in there, right? But who has the time for that? So really, honestly, who has the time to read all that shit? I do, but I'm not everybody. I'm not the average person. The average Joe is, getting on the bus on their way to work, pick up their phone, is okay. They have time for that. Wait, let me say hello to Asmila J. Thank you for the super sticker, my friend. And Sandra Lee. Oh, look at you. And thank you very much for that gift as well. I appreciate you. Thank you. Excuse me. So I'm getting carried away on this, and I apologize. I need to try to stick to a more timely schedule, as I've been trying to do. Hey, look at this. Look at this crazy shit here. This was my 6:30 a.m. tweet. So this is the guy who's in charge of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, the one that is in charge of, what gets broadcast on TV. And Donald Trump apparently has this new loyalty thing, okay, now you must wear a lapel pin with my head on it. You have to rub it 3 times and then kiss my ass. What the fuck? This is some crazy shit. This is insane. Yeah. Meredith Powell says it all. Republicans are fucking cringe. Indeed. And so this is an interesting story here. Not interesting in a bad way, because this gentleman, his name is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was apprehended by Homeland Security or ICE or whatever, and he was, cuffed and shipped over to El Salvador on suspicion that he was part of that that Venezuelan gang trade something or other. Don't remember, but he was not. He was accidentally sent there. And we've known about this for a few weeks now. And, the Trump administration was like, oops, our bad. Well, can you go get him back? Nah. What? You accidentally sent the guy there and you're leaving him? Yeah. Why? Why are you doing this? Well, because we don't have the authority, and it's El Salvador government, the fearsome, terrifying, powerful El Salvador government that we set this whole thing up with. Yeah, but you could send Christy Nome to do cosplay over there in front of a bunch of shirtless prisoners. You can't ask him, hey guys, can you send that guy back? He's actually not, it's not criminal. You can't do that. That's a bridge too far. It's ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. So last night, shocking, the Supreme Court in a 9-0 vote said that we must, and this was, even the wording of this was weird too, we have to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego. I suppose that means that we have to spin the wheels that need to be spun, grease the hands that need to be greased, whatever. And then today they were in court, trying to ascertain Mr. Garcia's whereabouts. But the Trump administration attorneys, they don't know. They claim to not know. They claim to not even, we didn't have that conversation with, what? What? this is ridiculous. What is the deal? You fucked up. Clean it up. Clean up your mistake. Fix this. It's insane. So anyway, this past weekend was huge. I hate if I sound all doom and gloom on this show, my apologies, because it's not all doom and gloom. It's not. There are signs of resistance, powerful signs. And this weekend was insane. Was insane. There were people in every state and just about every city across America in a thing called Hands Off. It was the Hands Off protest marches. Some amazing. I don't know. Was there a count yet? Does anybody know if there was a count of how many people? Oh wait, before I get on, people are talking about Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, I did mean to bring this up because she's batshit. She's crazy. I have never seen. I pay attention to comic. I pay attention to politics the way I pay attention to sports or comic books. I never seen an attorney general like her. She's like full on cheerleader. I just want to say that President Trump is the smartest person who ever lived, and he has the authority to do all things, no matter what it is. It's his authority. He can do it. And if you think I'm kidding, I am not kidding. You, of course, you guys know. It's weird to me. It's so weird. Let me see. I have a clip of this, and I wanted to let's see. Let's go here, and let's go to more. Let's go to bookmarks, Storytime. Yeah, there we go. Here's Weird Pam.
President, we've had some great wins in the last few days. That you were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority. U.S. Americans want you to be president because of your agenda.
U.S.
And the
Americans
courts are ruling that you have the authority to determine how the money of this country will be spent. That's what the American citizens wanted, and that's what they're getting. An example of that Friday was the Department of Education, that you can determine how the
She's a cabinet level member who doesn't know that it's not the president who determines what money gets spent. It is Congress. It is the House of Representatives. But she's giving him that authority. She can't give him shit.
Money will be spent, no more DEI. And that impacts every agency across the board.
She reminds me of Miss South Carolina. I'm sorry, Miss South Carolina. I hate for you to be it's not a joke, but when she said U.S. Americans, kind of reminded me. But she's God, Pam Bondi, have some pride, have some self-respect. That is pathetic. That is abysmal. Anyway, let's get back to get back to the hands-off protest marches, which were just absolutely phenomenal. And as you can see here, this is a map showing all of those protest marches. That's crazy. You can't tell me that these are paid protesters. Republicans are so stupid. They're like, oh, they're sure they're all paid protesters. Really? I've been protesting Trump since 2016. Never once have I received a paycheck from George Soros for protesting Trump's idiocy. Never. It's just so stupid. And speaking of stupid, this thing here. On the left, you have Chris Krebs, who was in charge of election integrity. That was his job. He was hired in the Trump administration, hired by someone in Trump's administration, and Miles Taylor is also part of Trump's administration. Now, Miles Taylor worked in the White House, and that brother was known as Anonymous. Well, he wasn't known as Anonymous. He later on made himself known, but Anonymous was reporting the insane goings on in the White House. He's like a whistleblower, you know. Chris Krebs was not really a whistleblower. He was just the guy who said this election was the most secure election in the history of the United States. That's all he said. But that was his crime. That was his crime. And as a result, just the other day, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, Donald Trump signed an executive order authorizing the DOJ to go after these guys. So MAGA has gone from we need to stop the weaponization of justice to this. And this is fine. These are two guys who worked for Trump and you're going after them. And it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. Trump signs orders punishing those who oppose his 2020 election lies. And this is the reality that we're in now. And so when I seem like, you know, I'm caught up, when I'm like, you know, hey, calm down, Brooklyn Dad. This is why I can't be calm. You know, at least not with you guys. You guys have to catch some of this. You have to catch some of my fury because, you know, what are friends for, right? Yeah, it's batshit insane. And there are some shows on cable news that do acknowledge the insanity, but there's not enough. There aren't enough people. Daytime cable news is useless, worthless. I did a fun thing, kind of fun. You guys know what Grok is? Grok is the built-in AI on Twitter. You know, it's something that Elon's developers came up with. And you can ask this thing anything. It's actually quite useful. It is quite useful. I don't know if this is faster or Google is faster. It's not that it's faster, it's smarter. Because you see this, it gave me a long, really nuanced answer where if you Googled, like I Googled, the question I asked Grok was, did President Biden sign any executive orders that specifically targeted individuals to be investigated as payback for doing their jobs? Now, if I had plugged that into Google, I would have gotten, you know, my search results would be some links to articles that kind of vaguely answer the question, but not exactly. But Grok is like, there's no definitive evidence that President Biden signed executive orders specifically targeting individuals for investigation as payback for doing their jobs. I checked Biden's executive orders, 162 in total, as per records that Ballotpedia and the Federal Register, and none explicitly single out individuals for retaliatory investigations. Boom. I did that because I already knew. I already knew the answer before I asked the question, but I just want to see, you know. And of course, no, President Biden didn't single anybody out. How crazy this dude is. He's doing unprecedented, just crazy shit. He's doing things that I expect a mobster would do, right? You know what we're going to do? We're going to make it illegal for people to snitch on me. I don't know. Okay, hey, Joey, can you legal that up there? Can you put some legalese to that? Make it sound, you know what, official? Can you do that? All right, let's do that. Also, let's say we're going to make it legal, right? We're going to make it legal for countries to bribe me. I'm serious. I'm serious. Because they got to have the right to talk to me, right? To answer, to solve their problems. You think I'm going to do it for free? I'm not doing it for free. Huh? They want to talk to me? They got to pay, you know, you got to pay the kitty. Yeah, anyway. Let's talk about these reciprocal tariffs, right? He made a big deal out of this the other day. What did he call it? Liberation Day. Liberation Day was April 2nd. What day is it now? It's the 11th. And so he announced all these tariffs, and it was, we all had a good laugh about it. It was tariffing Island. I think it's Heard Island, Heard and McDonald Island. They have are penguins. And the lesson that the world learned is that when dealing with Flinchy McFolds a lot, and he's going to impose some tariffs, don't do nothing. Why? Because he will eventually cave. He'll flinch, he'll duck, avoid, withdraw, shrink, flee, cower, retreat, recoil. He will not stick to it. He can't. So the other day, by the way, his approval rating is in the turlet, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse for him. But on that fateful day, I forget if it was yesterday, 2 days ago, because these days are so compressed with bullshit. 4/9. Okay, so it was 2 days ago. He tweeted in the morning, "This is a great time to buy." So you guys already know me. You know that my brain is harboring a conspiracy theorist. I keep him locked up in a cage, right? But so every once in a while, he sticks his head out between the bars. He's like, "Yo, isn't this shit crazy?" I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is." So what I was pointing out to wifey on that morning is that I was looking at the Dow, and I was looking at it would go down, right? It would go down like 100, 200 points, but then suddenly it jumped back up like 200, 300 points. And I was like, you know what? I told wifey, I was like, he's got his rich friends doing that, jacking the market up, so that, because if they didn't, the overall losses cumulatively would have been tremendous. And then sure enough, a few hours later, he announced that he was putting a pause on these tariffs. And the market jumped almost 3,000 points. Now, is anybody out there silly enough to think that he didn't tell nobody what he was going to do? He just, you know what? Maybe I'll put a pause. And he didn't tell anybody. Bullshit. That is a major decision to make. And he told us that he was watching the bonds market. Now, I'm one of those guys who I'm not proud to say, but I used to be proud to say, I don't pay attention to stocks and bonds. I should have been. The same way people say, I don't pay attention to politics. That was me with finances. I didn't pay attention. I should have. But usually when people talk about stocks, they also talk about bonds, and people don't talk about bonds as often as they talk about stocks, because stocks are, the sexy things that they go up and they go down, and that's where people get rich. But the bonds apparently are like way more important than stocks, right? The bonds are what people buy into, the treasury bills. They're buying, they're like what makes um, the United States legitimate, financially legitimate. And if people start selling their bonds, they're sending a message. They're sending a message that we don't trust the United States. That's what it is. So people were selling their bonds like crazy, and that's what made him make that decision. How many people did he contact? We don't know, but there absolutely needs to be an investigation into that. And let me just share with you something, a clip that came right out of the Oval Office shortly after that big bump in the Dow Jones. Check this out. This is insane.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad, because he's in financials. I've always been.
Charles Schwab, pointing him out, he's saying he made $2.5 billion, and the other guy made $900 million.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And
he just learned that. It's not, Charles Schwab is not just a company, it's an individual. Groceries.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad, because he's in financials. I've always been.
We're all getting rich, and those poor suckers out there are losing their entire 401ks. And here is what Hakeem Jeffries had to say about things. It's coming. It is coming, and thank goodness. Thank you very much, Mr. Jeffries. No sound? Oh, you guys couldn't hear it? Dead air. Wait a minute. Can you guys hear me? Oh, so sorry. Okay, wait a minute. I messed up. Shit. My bad. I was wondering what happened. Let's see.
We need to get to the bottom of the possible stock
Can you
manipulation
hear that now?
that is unfolding before the American people,
Okay. All right.
including what,
Sorry.
if any, advanced knowledge did members of the House Republican Conference have of Trump's decision to pause the reckless tariffs that he put into place? There are several members of Congress who will be aggressively demanding answers and transparency, particularly as it relates to stock purchase decisions that may have occurred over the last few days. Thanks.
As a follow-up to that question, are there any avenues that Democrats can explore to force an investigation in the House, or are you all essentially handcuffed by being in the minority?
There will be several avenues that we will be able to pursue, and will do so aggressively. And in fact, because of current congressional rules, we know that members of the House of Representatives will have to disclose any stock trades that they've made 30 days from the date of those trades, or potentially no later than 45 days. And so the reality is people are going to have to pay the piper in terms of disclosure. And so our point is you might as well get it out into the public domain now, because it's coming later, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
It's coming later, and there's nothing you can do about it. Surprise, motherfucker! Yeah, man. Oh boy. Oh, wait a minute. Something is happening to our friend Dave here. I'm sorry to hear your troubles, Dave. I see our fam has you enveloped in their loving embrace. That's terrible. Terrible. Sorry to hear about that, brother. So where does this leave us? You know, this whole tariff thing is a debacle. China has brought their tariffs up to, I think it's 125%. United States tariffs on China are 145%. Nobody wins. Nobody wins a trade war. Nobody wins, right? These prices are going to go through the roof. And these are things that, you know, all of us buy or have bought or need, you know, whether it's sneakers, right? Sneakers is one thing that comes out of China. Clothes. You know what? China came out with a new video. I don't know if I clipped that. You guys have seen it already, I'm sure by now. They came out with a video pretty much mocking. It's the one on it's the picture on the right there. Make America Strong Again. It's showing, you know, overweight people sitting at sewing machines trying to make sneakers. Oh yeah, just in, White House clarifies Trump's tariffs on China now 145%. If this stays and Trump doesn't cave like he did with the tariffs on the rest of the world, it will dramatically raise prices on a wide range of products, kill tens of thousands of small businesses, and wreck our economy. Oh yeah, and here's inside Trump's tariff retreat, how fears of a bond market catastrophe convinced Trump to hit the pause button. So Donald Trump he doesn't even have a coherent plan. Imagine that. Imagine having the audacity, the balls to fuck around with the finely tuned instrument that is the United States economy, just to fucking throw that into the trash heap. You know, people actually voted for this clown, and I've had enough of the MAGA videos. I didn't know he was going to eat my face. I didn't know the face-eating leopard was going to eat my face. I just wanted him to eat the faces of brown people and black people and people I don't like. But this is going to hurt a lot of people. A lot of people. We're going to see a lot of job losses. I see the increased cost to families is supposed to be something like $4,900 a year. Who has that kind of money lying around? $5,000 just to extra. They're saying the days of buying cheap shit, cheap TVs and cheap phones. Yes, that's it for the iPhones, right? Those iPhones, they cannot be made here. They can't. And all those cheap clothes cannot be made here. Just can't. New York, America is not built like that anymore. In order for us to get to that point, we're not talking 4 years or 8 years. We're talking decades at best. And decades from now, it ain't going to be people. It's going to be robots. And I'm sure you've heard that already. You know, robots are going to be the next phase in manufacturing. And if this is news to you and I'm the one delivering it, I am sorry, but that is where we are headed. It's not something that I want, but it's something that those billionaires, millionaires and billionaires, those greedy motherfuckers, they need more and more money. They need more and more profits. And what's more profitable than having robots that don't need health care? They don't need benefits. They don't need sick days. They don't even need to sleep. They can work nonstop 7 days a week for nothing, for whatever it costs to run the electricity to that factory. So anywho, guys, we have to stay engaged. We have to stay alert. We're going to pay attention. You know, we are the ones who are informing our less informed friends and family of what's going on. You guys, if you're watching this show now, it means you give a shit. It means what happens to your country matters to you, that you are spending a part of your early Friday evening watching Brooklyn Dad curse his ass off and talk about politics. Matters. So as such, take the information that you have, take the warnings that we have for each other and spread them. Spread them to people that you work with, spread them to people you happen to run into at the supermarket, at the grocery store. That new word, groceries. You know, little by little, we have to break through. There is a certain number of people that are not being reached, and we have to reach them. MAGA is beyond being reached, maybe. I don't believe that they're reachable, even if I think it would take them losing everything. And maybe not even that. They'll probably find some way to blame President Biden if they were to lose everything. But we have to reach those non-voters, those people who, you know, who don't really pay that much attention to politics. We got to find a way to reach them. Meredith said, "What's this word? Groceries? Old-fashioned." That's right. So I saw Dakota Dave finally found the channel. Thank you, Dakota Dave. Welcome, my friend. It's good to have you here. And so, folks, I want to thank you all for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Dave, my friend, hang tough, brother. Hang tough. I'm sorry for the harassment that you are suffering at the hands of your inconsiderate shithead neighbors. I hope it gets better, brother. Hang in there, buddy. And for the rest of you folks, I hope you have a wonderful evening and weekend. As I mentioned earlier, I will be watching that movie with Viola Davis, G20. I look forward to seeing that. There's some other other shows that I'm watching now. I'm watching that thing with Tom Hardy. It's called Mobland. Is it called Mobland? Yeah, it's called Mobland. Great show. It's like The Mob, but in England. It's very good. It's a very good show. Just finished watching 1923, which is like a precursor to Yellowstone. That's a great show. They just finished that season, and now the new show is starting, I guess, in a year or so. And The Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale is back. They posted 3 episodes. Finally, we were waiting. Wifey and I were like all last year, like, what happened to that show? So this is the series finale. This is the end. This is it. So if you've been waiting for it to return, it's back. Go check it out. That's on Hulu. I look forward to seeing you guys here next week. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.